Fellas, listen up. You out here chasing women like they're the prize, but let me tell you something. You are the prize. You are the one that needs to get built up. You are the one that needs to have something going for yourself. Because if all you got is smooth talk and no foundation, you're just another dude wasting time. Stop acting like you need to prove yourself to every woman. Too many men out here are running around bending over backward, trying to impress women who haven't even earned that level of effort. They put all their energy into being liked, being chosen, and being seen as good enough. But the reality is, when you operate like that, you lower your own value. A man who knows his worth never begs for attention, approval, or validation. He understands that he brings something to the table, and he carries himself accordingly. When a man doesn't recognize that he is the prize, he moves with desperation instead of confidence. He becomes the guy who's always available, always chasing, always doing too much to impress. And the problem with that, women don't respect it. They might take advantage of it, they might entertain it, but deep down they don't admire it. Why? Because people respect what is valuable, what is scarce, what is built with discipline. A man who understands that he is the prize moves differently. He knows that his time, his energy, and his presence are valuable. He's not handing them out freely to anyone just because she looks good. A man who sees himself as the prize doesn't get caught up in the trap of over-pursuing. He doesn't sit by his phone waiting for a response, doesn't chase after someone who's showing minimal interest, and doesn't lower his standards just to keep someone around. Instead, he operates with a standard of self-respect. He knows that just as much as a woman wants to be valued and appreciated, so does he. It's not about arrogance, it's about knowing your worth and refusing to settle for anything less than mutual effort and respect. Too often, men put women on a pedestal before even knowing if they deserve that spot. They treat her like a queen before she's proven she can be one. They lead with gifts, attention, and nonstop effort, thinking that if they just show how much they care, they'll win her over. But the truth is, a woman is not attracted to a man she can easily impress. She's attracted to a man who impresses himself first. A man who is focused on his own mission, his own growth, and his own success naturally becomes more attractive because he's moving with purpose. When you know you're the prize, you don't chase, you attract. You don't need to overcompensate because your value is not based on someone else's approval. You operate from a position of strength, not weakness. You don't entertain people who play games with your time because you know your time is too valuable for that. You don't settle for relationships that drain you or make you feel like you constantly have to prove your worth. Instead, you focus on your goals, your growth, and your peace. And in doing that, you naturally draw the right energy toward you. The most powerful thing a man can do is recognize that he is enough as he is, without external validation. He doesn't need to prove himself to every woman he meets. He needs to prove himself to himself. When you shift your mindset from chasing to building, from proving to knowing, from desperation to confidence, everything changes. Women notice, the world notices, but most importantly, you notice. And that's where real power begins. A man on a mission doesn't waste time chasing. He understands that his time and energy are his most valuable assets, and he invests them where they matter most. Too many men are caught up in pursuing women while neglecting their own growth, success, and purpose. They put more effort into impressing someone else than they do into building themselves. And the truth is, when you prioritize chasing over purpose, you set yourself up for disappointment. You end up in a cycle of seeking validation instead of creating value. A man who is focused on his purpose carries himself differently. He wakes up with a plan, he has goals he's working toward, and he doesn't have time to be distracted by meaningless pursuits. His energy is directed toward becoming better, not proving himself to others. Women respect a man who is moving with direction, a man who isn't constantly looking for someone to complete him because he's already working on completing himself. When you're chasing women, you're putting them above your mission. You're making them the priority when they should be a complement to your life, not the center of it. When a man is on his grind, everything about him changes. His confidence grows because he's seeing progress. He's becoming someone of value, someone with something real to offer. He's not trying to impress with words. His actions speak for him. And the best part, he doesn't have to chase. Women notice a man who is focused, disciplined, and ambitious. They see the way he carries himself, the way he's always working towards something bigger. That kind of energy is attractive because it shows leadership, strength, and vision. The men who struggle the most with relationships are often the ones who put all their effort into the wrong things. They chase women with compliments, expensive dates, and constant attention, hoping that will be enough. But attention without substance means nothing. Women are drawn to security, ambition, and stability. They want a man who is building something, not a man who is just looking to be entertained. If you're always available, always texting, always trying to prove yourself, you're sending the message that you have nothing more important to do, and a man with nothing important to do is not appealing. Building yourself should always come first. Your career, your skills, your health, your finances. These are the things that set the foundation for your life. When you prioritize these areas, you put yourself in a position of power. You become someone who has options, someone who doesn't need to chase because he naturally attracts the right opportunities and people into his life. A man who is focused on his purpose has a certain aura about him. He doesn't seek approval, he doesn't waste time, and he doesn't settle. That kind of energy commands respect, and it shifts the way people see you. Too many men think that being successful with women is about having the right words or knowing the right moves. But the truth is, the most powerful thing you can do is level up your life. When you're moving towards success, when you're becoming the best version of yourself, everything else falls into place. The right people notice, the right doors open, and you realize that you never needed to chase in the first place. Women respect a man who moves with purpose, not one who is desperate for attention. Desperation is one of the quickest ways to turn people off because it signals a lack of confidence, a lack of control, and a lack of direction. When a man is desperate, he comes across as needy, always seeking validation, always trying too hard to be noticed. That kind of energy is unattractive because it suggests that he is not secure in himself. A man who constantly seeks approval from women is a man who has not built his own self-worth. He relies on external validation to feel good about himself, and that's a weak position to be in. Confidence is built through action, discipline, and purpose. When a man has something going for himself, he doesn't need to chase people for attention. He doesn't need to constantly prove his worth because his actions already show it. A man who is busy working on his goals and striving for success doesn't have time to be desperate. His time is valuable, and he knows that anyone who doesn't recognize his worth is simply not meant for him. Desperation makes a man settle for less than he deserves, accept poor treatment, and put people on a pedestal who haven't earned it. Instead of walking away from situations that don't serve him, he clings to them out of fear of being alone. This weak mindset leads to disappointment, frustration, and a loss of self-respect. A man who moves with purpose carries himself with a different energy. He is selective about who he gives his time and attention to because he understands his value. He knows that not every woman is meant for him, and he doesn't waste time chasing people who don't show genuine interest. Instead of overextending himself, he focuses on being the best version of himself. And because of that, he naturally attracts the right people into his life. Women respect a man who is in control of his emotions, who doesn't react out of desperation, and who knows that his worth isn't determined by whether someone likes him or not. Men who are desperate for attention often lower their standards just to keep someone around. They tolerate disrespect, accept one-sided effort, and allow themselves to be treated as an option. But a man who values himself moves differently. He walks away from situations that don't align with his standards. He doesn't tolerate inconsistency, and he doesn't beg for anyone's time. A man with confidence understands that his presence is valuable, and he doesn't waste it on people who don't appreciate it. When a man is desperate, he sends the message that he lacks self-control and self-respect. He becomes overly eager, trying to impress instead of allowing things to unfold naturally. Women pick up on this energy quickly, and instead of drawing them in, it pushes them away. Desperation is unattractive because it shows that a man is too focused on external approval rather than internal growth. A strong man, on the other hand, doesn't seek validation. He validates himself through his actions, his accomplishments, and his mindset. A man who respects himself will never feel the need to chase attention. He moves with confidence, knowing that his worth is not determined by someone else's opinion of him. Women respect a man who stands firm in his values, who doesn't let rejection shake him, and who remains focused on his purpose, regardless of external distractions. A man who is busy building something meaningful doesn't have time to be desperate. He operates from a position of abundance, knowing that the right people will naturally be drawn to him. Before looking for a queen, make sure you've built a kingdom. Too many men rush into relationships without having their foundation in order, thinking that love alone will solve everything. But the truth is, without stability, direction, and a strong sense of self, a relationship becomes just another distraction instead of a blessing. A man must first establish himself before he can bring value to someone else's life. If his finances are a mess, if his emotions are all over the place, if he has no vision for his future, then he is not ready to lead, and without leadership, there is no stability. A man's foundation is built on 4 major pillars: financial security, emotional stability, purpose, and discipline. Financial security does not mean being a millionaire, but it does mean having control over money instead of money controlling him. A man who is financially reckless, drowning in debt, or living paycheck to paycheck with no plan for improvement is setting himself up for struggle. Women are naturally drawn to security, and that does not just mean physical protection. It means knowing that the man she is with has a plan and is capable of providing not just for her, but for himself first. If a man is struggling to take care of himself, how can he take care of a family? A strong foundation starts with financial discipline, the ability to budget, save, and invest in his future. Emotional stability is just as important as financial stability. A man who lacks control over his emotions is unpredictable, reactive, and difficult to be around. If he gets angry over small things, if he is easily manipulated by his feelings, if he needs constant reassurance to feel worthy, he has not yet built himself into the man he needs to be. Emotional maturity means understanding his own triggers, knowing how to handle stress, and being able to communicate effectively without resorting to anger or shutting down. A strong man does not let his emotions control him. He controls his emotions. Purpose is what separates an average man from a great man. A man without purpose is lost, wandering through life without direction. He moves from one thing to the next, unsure of what he wants, relying on temporary pleasures to fill the void. A man with purpose knows exactly what he is working toward. He has goals, he has ambition, and he is disciplined enough to stay committed to his path. Women respect a man who is driven, who is passionate about something greater than himself, because that energy is inspiring. A man without purpose, on the other hand, is easily distracted, easily influenced, and easily thrown off course. Discipline is the backbone of a strong foundation. A man who lacks discipline struggles to stay consistent in anything, whether it is his career, his health, or his personal growth. Without discipline, success is impossible. A man must be able to control his habits, delay gratification, and stay committed to his goals even when he does not feel like it. Discipline is what allows a man to build something lasting, whether it is a business, a career, or a healthy relationship. A man who has not yet built his foundation will find himself in relationships that drain him rather than elevate him. He will attract the wrong people, accept the wrong treatment, and tolerate situations that do not align with his worth. When a man has his life in order, he does not settle for chaos. He does not allow distractions to pull him away from his vision. He does not rush into commitments just for the sake of companionship. Instead, he waits for someone who truly aligns with the life he is building, someone who adds value rather than takes away from it. The right woman will be drawn to your strength, ambition, and confidence, not your constant pursuit. A man who understands his worth does not spend his time chasing women because he knows that the right person will recognize his value without him having to prove it. Attraction is not about persistence. It is about presence, energy, and purpose. A man who is focused on building himself naturally attracts the right people into his life. Women respect and admire a man who is self-assured, who walks with confidence, and who knows where he is going in life. When a man constantly pursues without first establishing himself, he comes across as desperate. Women are not drawn to desperation. They are drawn to certainty. A man who is sure of himself does not need to seek validation from others. He is not overly concerned with being liked or accepted. Instead, he operates from a place of self-respect, knowing that the right person will recognize his value without excessive effort. Confidence is not about arrogance. It is about knowing who you are and standing firm in it. A man who exudes confidence does not need to chase, because his energy naturally attracts attention. People want to be around someone who is secure in themselves, who does not waver based on external opinions, and who radiates self-assurance. When a man moves with confidence, women take notice, not because he is trying to impress them, but because he is simply being himself without needing approval. Ambition is another trait that naturally attracts the right woman. A man who has goals, who is driven, and who is actively working towards something meaningful is far more attractive than a man who drifts through life aimlessly. Women respect men who are passionate about their work, their dreams, and their personal growth. A man who is on a mission does not have time to chase, he is too busy building. And that energy is what draws people in. Strength is more than just physical, it is mental, emotional, and spiritual. A strong man does not allow setbacks to break him. He does not crumble under pressure or let temporary failures define him. Women admire men who can handle challenges with resilience, who can lead with wisdom, and who do not let emotions control their actions. Strength is about consistency, discipline, and the ability to remain grounded even when life gets tough. A man who carries himself with strength, ambition, and confidence naturally commands respect. He does not need to beg for attention, and he does not need to prove his worth through excessive effort. The right woman will recognize his value because he embodies it. She will be drawn to his mindset, his leadership, and the way he handles himself. Instead of trying to force connections, he focuses on his purpose, knowing that the right people will align with his journey. Men who chase often find themselves exhausted, frustrated, and unfulfilled. They invest too much energy into trying to win someone over rather than working on themselves. But the moment a man shifts his focus inward, everything changes. He becomes more attractive not because he is trying harder, but because he is operating from a place of strength. Women notice a man who moves with purpose, who is not easily swayed, and who remains committed to his own growth. The key is to focus on becoming the best version of yourself, and the right woman will see it. She will be drawn to your confidence, respect your ambition, and appreciate your strength. A man who knows his value never has to chase, he attracts by simply being who he is. When you embody that mindset, you shift from seeking validation to standing in your power, and that is when the right person will naturally come into your life. A man who chases women instead of his goals will always find himself empty-handed. Success is not built on distractions. And too many men lose focus because they prioritize relationships over self-development. The time and energy spent trying to impress or win someone over could be used to build something meaningful, something that creates real value. Women are not the prize. Your purpose is. A man who understands this puts his ambitions first, knowing that when he builds himself, the right people will naturally be drawn to him. Life rewards those who are disciplined, those who stay committed to their vision, even when distractions are tempting. A man who is constantly chasing women is diverting his energy from where it truly matters. He is spending his time in conversations that lead nowhere, chasing validation instead of chasing greatness. But a man who is focused on his growth, his business, his health, and his success moves differently. He is not easily swayed by temporary pleasures because he understands the bigger picture. When you put your goals first, everything else aligns. The respect, the admiration, the attention you seek, it all comes naturally when you establish yourself as a man of value. Women respect men who are going somewhere in life. They are drawn to men who have vision, ambition, and discipline. When you elevate yourself, you don't need to chase, you attract. And that attraction is based on something real, your accomplishments, your mindset, your energy. A man who is committed to his success wakes up with a plan. He's constantly improving himself, learning new skills and refining his craft. He does not have time to be distracted by meaningless pursuits because he knows every moment wasted is a moment he could have used to get ahead. He values his time, and because of that, others value it too. When you make success your priority, you naturally gain the confidence and status that make you stand out. It is easy to fall into the trap of thinking that relationships define you, but they don't. What defines you is your ability to create something worthwhile, to stand on your own 2 feet and to live with purpose. A man who builds himself first ensures that when the right person does come along, he has something to offer. Stability, wisdom, leadership. But if he spends all his time chasing, he will end up with nothing to show for it. Women come and go, but success is what lasts. The work you put in today will determine the kind of life you live tomorrow. If you spend your time wisely, if you stay committed to your goals, if you invest in yourself, you will reach a point where you no longer have to chase anything. You will attract the right opportunities, the right people, and the right relationships effortlessly. Chasing women is a waste of time because it puts you in a position of weakness. It makes you dependent on external validation rather than internal growth. But when you chase success, you take control of your future. You build yourself into a man who commands respect, who moves with confidence, who does not settle for less than he deserves. And in the end, that is what truly matters. Stop chasing women, start chasing greatness. The rest will follow.